Look at me all dressed up. Um, I'm going to shoot a video about what I would do to change Canada or the U.S. if I could be the first Canadian president of the United States. I would do it there as well. Looks like I got a extra eyebrow or something. But I can't imagine. Well, I can. I've thought about being the president of the United States since I was a little boy. I always said that. First Canadian president. Anyhow, I had a whole plan on Canada and stuff before. See, and what my thing was for climate change, because it's a big issue and it's been one for a long time. This was before I was educated. For climate change, what I thought was we needed to do a car trade-in program where you start with everybody in Canada who has like a new car. You get them to bring them in, and you give them a brand new 0 miles hybrid to replace whatever they have. And let's say they have a SUV, well, you give them a hybrid SUV. If they have a little car, you give them a little car. If they got a half-ton truck, you give them a half-ton truck or a 1-ton or whatever. But you do it, you bring them up a class. Now, obviously, for some people, that's not going to work. A lot of people have fully electric cars now, and a lot of people already have hybrids. So you're not really going to reap the benefits of the first of this, but you'll reap the benefits at the end of this, because I hate to say trickle down, because that's not a real thing in any other economic scale, but it would be in this situation, sort of, except that as an educated person, I know that the government, in order to do this, would be stealing your money, borrowing your children's paychecks as well, pooling that together in order to give you this program. But anyhow, so you would trade them in first off, and then, like, say anybody who's got you'd start with anybody from 2000 to 2023. Then you'd go from and you give them all brand new cars, and then jump back another 3 years or whatever, go from 17 to 2000, and you give them all pretty much brand new cars as well, but you go with the ones off the lots. Maybe they got 10,000, 5,000, 20,000 kilometers on them, but they're brand new cars. Trade all them in. And then you take all those cars from 2017 to 23, and you've got them set aside. So now you'd go from 2017 to 2000, say, 15, because you wouldn't want to go past that. And you get them to trade their cars in, and you'd give them the people who traded in the 2000 to 2003 models. You give those people those models, right? Now you've got everything. You might have a couple of those models left, but you've got probably not. But now you've got a lot of cars from, like, say, 2000 back to 2015. And you're going to have quite a few cars of that You know, like you'll have a bulk of cars there, and you've got everybody who was driving those cars all driving brand new hybrid cars. And hybrid because we know our system, our electrical system cannot make the power for everybody to be in electric cars. So that's just stupid to even think that, right? But a hybrid car has the electric batteries and has the electric technology in it, but the gas engine clicks on to charge it. So it's all self-sufficient with just a little bit of fuel, as opposed to trying to look into the electrical grid all the time. And then you see these hybrid cars, or the electric cars, the fully electric ones, broke down, getting charged by generators on the side of the road. That's just retarded. Why not have the generator under the hood? Problem solved. The fucking car just goes for a very long time on a tank of gas. But now you'd go from the 2015s to say 2010s, giving them trading them up to the from 2015s to the 2000s, and then anybody who owns older than 2010 would get the upgrade into what was left out of the melting pot. You'd have to statistically kind of keep track to make sure that you had enough cars that somebody who had a 2015 didn't get a 2000 car, and then somebody who had a 2010 ended up getting a 2000 car as well, or whatever, right? Because you ran out of older, you know what I mean? But you could easily balance that out with the starting point, right? Because before, you know, you give brand new cars to more people, right? Instead of like I went from with the brand new cars, I started at 2017 on, but you could actually go 2015 on and give all those people brand new cars, and then you'd have all those cars that they traded in to then give to the people who are driving beaters, right? And then make it illegal to drive cars from the year 2000 to 2015 or so, because those were disposable cars. They were built to be disposable junk. And then for anything older than that, like classics, like this thing, that's the people who would actually have, you know, when you registered your car for the year to be on the road, your registry would cover a carbon tax of some sort or whatever, even though that whole thing is a fucking scam. And I have a whole different idea now as opposed to what I had then. But that was the start of one of my plans, and that would actually rebuild the economic turmoil. This was around 2008. The economic turmoil of the country, because we would not have the carbon tax problem, because we wouldn't have to pay carbon tax anymore. We'd have paid it for years and years to come by getting rid of all those cars, and putting all those hybrids on the road and all that other stuff. Plus we have all like trees and everything. So we would be well carbon neutral. And then everybody would have more money in their pockets because you got a newer car that needs less parts and burns less gas, right? And then gas wouldn't be as expensive because we're not burning as much. So if you're not using it as much, then it's not, you know what I mean? Supply and demand, the price would go down. And the average car driver having more money in their pocket is going to make them go to restaurants more, or go to yard sales or go to whatever, and they're going to have just more money to spend locally in their community, which is going to make that community flourish more, and that is a trickle down, right? Except that we stole all your money in order to give you the initial cars, because the government doesn't make money, they take money. So that would fix that would fix economics. But then what was my other ones? The drug war. If you fix, and this would still stand today, if you fix the society that we live in, the drug problem fixes itself. The alcohol problem fixes itself. If you're happy and fulfilled and paid well, and you're not stressed out about anything at work, and you're not stressed out about bills and all that stuff as much, and your cage area has time for you to play and experience life and do whatever, you're not going to be as attracted to the just numbing your brain in order to escape reality. You'll actually enjoy reality, so you'll be able to just immerse yourself in it. And now that's going to take time, and building families and changing city life. I think just in city life changes. Every parking lot everywhere in the country should, like, in a row of cars, every fourth spot should be tore up, put a abutment around it so that people can't smash into the tree, plant a tree there, but leave the abutment raised, put shims under it, so that the concrete, those little concrete things that stop your car from, they're here too, they're everywhere. You put those around it, but put them on shims so that the water can get to the tree, right? All the water from the parking lot's going to, you pick spots strategically, but you don't even have to, because the water's going to, as it runs by in any direction, it's going to get caught up in there. And rather than us just taking our groundwater that gets rained down and we put it into storm drains and we ship it out to the ocean, and nothing gets back into the ground. And then we wonder why our water's all dirty and gross and the oceans are dirty and gross. Well, it's not getting filtered. The earth is a huge filtering system that does its thing. The water cycle is beautiful. It's all purifying and beautiful and clean. And we're spraying the sky with chemicals and then making the water, diverting the ground. And then we're heating everything up. We cut down all the fucking trees. See, this is going to be way off my prime minister talk, but I thought before the Hovind theory was really sound. And what his theory was that there was a secondary dome over the earth before the flood that protected us from the sun and trapped in more oxygen into the earth's environment. But as you get educated, you discover that most of our mountains are purified tree stumps. Those trees, the canopy of that tree was like a secondary dome over top of the earth, protecting us from the sun and holding and creating a super oxygen environment. But once those monster trees were gone, then we can't live as long, right? Because now we're being directly in the sun, as opposed to it being just coming through the leaves of the trees, and And what the sun does is it actually, when it hits your skin, it shoots little balls of radiation, and it goes through your skin, makes these tiny, tiny little microscopic holes. And then over time, you get loose and baggy skin because it's so full of shot up with holes, right? But then your other skin that doesn't get the sun doesn't have that looseness, unless you're one of those people that's out in the sun constantly or whatever. And then your whole body starts to look like leather. But that's why we get wrinkles in our face, and that's why we age so young nowadays. But we didn't back then because we were under the canopy of the life trees and in the oxygen of those huge life trees. And so the whole world was different. Pretty cool. Anyhow. Back then, I was quite naive and thinking a lot of things. Recycling, I thought more of that, because even then I thought we could take all those cars and we'd have to scrap them all. And just that scrapping process is going to be another economic build in our chain of whatever, right? Because you're ripping you're paying people to rip those cars, chip them up, rip them down, but most of it doesn't even that doesn't happen. We're told that happens. It all gets put on ships in cubes. Probably just gets fucking dumped in the ocean. They say, oh, it goes to China and gets fucking melted down and schmelted and back into metals and this and that and the other, but I doubt it. Same with plastic bottles and shit. They say, oh yeah, we recycle them and all this stuff, but no, chances they ship them out to other countries or whatever because it's cheaper labor, and then they just dump them and make new plastics. And that's how you get huge ocean islands of plastic bottles floating around in the oceans. Just it's all fucking scams and lies and bullshit. So, see, the thing to do properly, if I was elected fucking president, prime minister, whatever, would be to just start shutting down entire government fucking programs. First thing would be any charities, shut that down. It's no business of the government to give your money to charity. Any of the like stupid studies where it's like, oh, well, I wonder if it takes longer for a person with kids to get ready or if a person without kids to get ready. Let's spend $1 million on that. I think it was $10 million that we spent on that in Canada to find out if it takes. And then they called people or whatever and asked questions. Are you fucking insane? Because the only honest way to figure that out would be to say, only call people with kids. Right? And then say, did it take you longer to get ready before you had kids than it does now that you have kids? And obviously the answer is going to be yes. You fucking moron. Why are you asking me this question? I have to get multiple people ready now. Until the kids get to a certain age and then become self-sufficient. And if you did a good job as a parent, then you say, go get ready. And you yourself go get ready. And then you both leave the fucking house at the same time. But that's a dream world for most people. You know, you got to tell your kid to get ready 4 or 5 times. And you got to make them breakfast and figure this and that and do this and that and the other. And all those things take extra time. Right? So there's the answer to your study. And as far as like calling up single people and then calling up people with children, well, I could get ready faster with kids that aren't even my kids, that I wouldn't know how to get them ready. And say I had to fucking work from a piece of paper in a stranger's house, then my cousin could get ready by herself and with her husband. The two of them couldn't possibly get ready as quickly as I could get their kids ready and myself ready and pack up the whole fucking car faster than they could get just themselves ready, yet alone what they could do with their kids and what they have to get ready there. So it's totally dependent upon the person. And that's somebody in my own family who I seen every single day of my life up till I was 15 or 12, whatever. And then seen her every week, at least a couple times a week, until I was fucking 20. Really close family. But obviously, it's all about personality. So wasting taxpayer money to fucking do a study like that is just retarded. And it's obviously a scam, because they could just as easily have answered that question anyway. They didn't need to make calls or have a group or fucking do any of that. They just took that whatever $1 million and fucking probably went and flew around and fucking did shit, hung out together and went to fucking bars and lunches and shit like that and got it all paid for at our expense. While we were at work, working hard, giving it all we had to get measly amounts of nothing and not be able to afford to go to a fucking restaurant, they went to the fanciest fucking restaurants and had the fanciest fucking dinners and just shot the shit about nothing and then filled out some fucking paperwork at the end. And this has been going on for fucking years. So that would stop immediately. And as much as that would be a waste of money, I would like to have all that shit investigated. Find out who was supporting it and have them put in prison. Or at least financially ruined. Right? Like, okay, well, you got to pay that money back now. Out of your own pocket. Come on. Right? Like, Trudeau, he's given billions of dollars to his wife's mother-in-law or whatever there, the charity that they're fucking laundering money through constantly. And still, and then he fucking avoided the legislative day. He canceled fucking court that day so that he could just get away with it and keep on doing it. All stops. Now, personally, I don't even think they should be looking after your roads. I don't think they should be looking after your cops. I don't think they should be looking after any fucking thing in your lives. Nothing. What does government look after? They look after international affairs and the military, which is international affairs. And as Canadians in Canada, we don't put a lot of money into the military. We're not out fighting wars all the time. We just need basic defense. So it's not piles of money. Good amount. And in a better world, we would just admit that it's fucking America's military that looks after us and keeps us free and keeps our rights, and we just give our budget to them. Now, obviously, their government's just as fucking corrupt as ours, and so that wouldn't work unless somebody was doing the exact same things in that country that we were doing in this country simultaneously. And then we could say, well, we're just going to pool our fucking military budget and really let's just become one fucking country. Let's have a constitution for Canada. Only makes sense. Anyhow, just keep abolishing systems. Now, cops, again, I think you could hire a private. You would be better to have multiple private police forces competing in an open market against each other, doing bids and whatnot. In order to diversify the law and not diversify, but to like not have it all in the hands of one corrupt organization like the FBI. They just have far too much reach, far too much power, far too much everything, right? Same as the RCMP. It's too much, right? Now I do realize that you could end up getting corrupt police forces, but that's the whole thing, is that you just fire those fuckers. Right? And if they try to do some trickery, extorting, whatever, right? You just have the honest police force from the neighboring city, 2-3 of them come in and kill them fuckers. And I know that sounds like, oh my God, kill them? Well, yeah. Of course we would kill them. You're going to fucking put them in a prison and pay to look after them for eternity and listen to the liberals about fucking how people in prison should have all these rights and fucking luxuries and freedoms and blah, blah, blah. No, you guys were fucking hired to be the police. Noble and true, and then you turned out to be corrupt in some way and you were fucking screwing the people over. That's the end. There's no coming back from that one. And you need to be made an example of. And it has to be a firm and solid and true example. And then you only have to do that maybe twice. And then it would never fucking happen again. They would all stay straight and narrow. At least 2-3 generations. And then you might have to do it again, right? But whatever. Better than what the system that we're in now, right? Slavery for all and fucking and them living, these elected officials living like kings on our dime. So then school system, again, would be way better privatized, way more competitive. You would have to turn out smart kids that can pass tests, or you would lose your not your funding. You would just lose. You'd be gone. You'd close your doors. You'd lose your job. Right? And if you got a bad teacher who turns out, class after class of failing kids, well, it ain't the kids. If you got to drug every kid in the class, that ain't the kids. That's the teacher, and you suck at your job. You can go be the janitor, right? And we'll go find a good teacher who can handle the kids and private, there'd be more money, right? Because all the government is a useless middleman, right? So they're the middleman, but they don't provide anything. So they take your money, put a bunch in their pockets, and then give them a little bit. And then they bitch about wanting more all the damn time, even though they're doing a failing job. So they take more out of you, keep that for themselves, borrow more from your children in the future in order to pay them more. And they are just stealing from themselves and don't even realize it. Or they do realize it and they don't care because they're LGBTQ and they're never going to have children of their own, so it doesn't matter. Future generation could matter less to them because it's not theirs. It has nothing to do with them. They're never going to fucking procreate. They can only procreate by taking your children. But they can't technically make their own, unless obviously with labs and donors and different things. But for the most part, they're not. If you're truly gay. And now LGBTQ, I guess they've mixed it up, like whatever, because you can be in a heterosexual relationship, but the man thinks he's a woman and the woman thinks she's a man. So you're actually in a queer relationship of some sort or whatever. Fucking confusing. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about them because I'll get demonetized, or not monetized. I'm not monetized. I'll get booted out of here. So school system's gone. A lot of the union bullshit gone, all private. Medical, again, gone, all private. Welfare system, gone, totally. Unemployment, gone. And because they're taking your money, saving it, apparently, trying to tell you that they're saving it for you and then giving it back to you if you pass the right criteria. And you got to jump through a lot of hoops to get it back. But again, there's somebody pocketing a bunch of that money, and then you've got to have all the staff, and they get benefits and blah,